Took my neighbour's steak away.
Took my steak away too.
Yeah, the impact that you've made on us is very large, and you've taught us, you know, how to act as people, and what to do and when to stand up and say that you don't agree with things, as well as when you do agree with things.
In my bed.
So yeah, look, we're very honoured to have you a part of our lives. On behalf of the other grandchildren, who I'd hope would say a couple of words if they'd like to. If not, there's no pressure. But I'm sure they feel exactly the same way as we do. And the effort that you make with them as well is remarkable. Just giving us all a broad education in terms of not just how to read books and what's inside books, but just in general learning about different people of different cultures and knowledge from all sorts of places that really has complemented our lives. So it's something really special. For us, you're our only living grandparent as well, so it's...
Don't you compare me with
but yeah, look, it's just remarkable that you do what you do, you know, at your age and all the way through, and the way that you stood up for things that you believe in as well. And you've set an example for us.
How many 90-year-olds wear jeans?
That's it. The other thing as well is, obviously, recently Mum wasn't very well, and just the help that you've given us all with that as well has been truly remarkable. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Helen. And yeah, just how wonderful it is to be here with everybody today and all the family that's come from everywhere, and thank everybody who's put this all on. It's just amazing, just wonderful. But I must apologise to Sheila's immediate family because we stole your mother. We made her our own. There's a group of us here who just took her on board, and it's been wonderful. And it's been 30 years now, and I'm sure she's told you all about the famous Alan Busak meeting where she rose to prominence and has never shut up since, but has worked very hard, played a leading role in the anti-apartheid movement and other movements like the Aboriginal rights and the euthanasia movement and many other organisations. She's been a media star, which some of your grandchildren don't know about. She's been in great demand on the speaking circuit, and she's loved and respected by many people in many organisations. And she's opened her heart and her home to all these people and to all these organisations. And over these 30 years we've had dozens upon dozens of gatherings at one Sheila place, Dianella, where she was the host and fed us all. So we all came out fed and satisfied every time that we went there. But one particular gathering stands out amongst it all, and that's when her son Raymond was let out of prison in South Africa, flew to Perth, and there were many of us at the airport singing and dancing and cheering and chanting for Raymond. And it was like that all the way through that Raymond was here in Perth, and he led one of the biggest anti-apartheid marches through Fremantle that we've ever seen. And again, Sheila opened up one Sheila place so that dozens upon dozens of people came to pay their respects to her son Raymond, who is a true hero of South Africa. And I can tell you many more stories, but I'll leave those to your 100th birthday, Sheila. but we have celebrated so many of your birthdays over the decades, and this is the best one of them all, your 90th. But we are going to celebrate many, many more in the coming future, just as good as today. And as we always say when we pay tribute to Sheila, our mother, our sister, our friend, our comrade, we say together, Viva Sheila! Viva! Viva Sheila! Viva! Thank you very much.
I've written about 6 pages, all in very big writing. I'll take about half of them out because you've stolen everything. Look, I welcome you all here today for this very special occasion. A special thanks and welcome to Sally and John and Myrna and Jen for coming over from South Africa. Fantastic to have you here. David, David, thanks for coming over. Travelling from South Africa and making a true family gathering. Welcome and thanks to Carrie for coming out from China. Lovely to have you here and meet you on behalf of the New South Wales connection. Lovely to be here for today, and we wouldn't have missed it for anything. It's been a great event. And meeting our cousins. Welcome also to all the other family and friends here today. A special mention to Anne and her family for the marvellous catering last night, the night before. I'll never get so much meat in my life. Daniel, wonderful job, thank you. And it seems like a serious illness isn't enough to keep Anne down. Look, 1923 was a very important year. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was established. The Flying Scotsman went into service. Insulin became generally available to people for diabetes. The Attorney General says it's legal for women to wear trousers. Time magazine was launched. The Native Act in South Africa imposes segregation on South African towns. Women began to wear one-piece swimsuits. King Tutankhamun's burial chamber is opened. Construction starts on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and Kraft invent Vegemite, and Sheila Fig was born. Now, all of these events changed the world in some fashion. Some are no longer around, but they all had great effects on our life. Today we're going to concentrate on the momentous events of the 13th of April 1923. Sheila Fig was born to Aaron and Debbie Fig. A brother Bernie and a sister Myra, or Tiny, made up this loving family unit. Ma and Pa Fig, devoted parents, who through their wonderful lives made great friends, spread happiness and joy, and passed on to their children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren the lessons of family, honesty, decency, loyalty and generosity of spirit. Sheila married Bertie Suttner, and over 10 years 5 children were born. We were provided with a happy childhood, a caring family. My father Bertie worked hard to provide for a growing family, and between he and Sheila ensured that even through some difficult times we missed out on nothing. It was a family where every chicken had 4 legs and 4 wings. As soon as the last of us were at school, Sheila made a move to university and with the highest grades qualified as a social worker. Running a family, working as a social worker for the South African Institute of Race Relations, the Selwyn Seagull Hospital, the Avril Elizabeth Homes, while Dad worked in retail, took up a lot of time and commitment, but never detracted from encouraging their children through school and their further studies, which led to great successes amongst Bertie and Sheila's children. Raymond, Sally and John became professionals of the highest distinction in their fields. Anne worked in patient care with doctors for many years, becoming the best at what she does, and at present manages resources at the Morris Zeffert Home. I became a very efficient bagpipe playing coal mine. In the mid-1970s, after Bertie's passing and Raymond's trial and incarceration, the family started to migrate to Australia. I came here in 1976, followed by Anne and Eugene. Sheila, after passing of Bertie, worked as the Dean of Jubilee Hall Women's Residence, for which I'll be eternally grateful, and stayed on in South Africa to see out the results of Raymond's sentence before immigrating to Perth. Sheila settled well in Perth, bought a beautiful home which very quickly became a food and catering emporium. Sheila was the only person who I knew who had to refer to a diary to know which meeting was next, how many would be catered for, not just daily, this was hourly. I think there was a catchphrase which said, "Come the revolution, Sheila will do the catering." Having many wonderful friendships from both South Africa and Australia, and the joys of having a sister Tiny, Lenny and their families on the same continent and city, helped recreate the closeness of family. Together with the wonderful Bodells and Paul and Michelle and many other old friends and acquaintances from hundreds of causes, clubs and organisations, Sheila was able to make up a massive family. I think the desperate missing of family is underestimated when people make the decision to migrate, and Sheila provided this for many. Sheila and her friends started to celebrate some big events. There was the Yom Kippur breaking of the fast, the New Year's feasts, the Freedom Day feasts. There were South Africans who were alone, people from all over the world, who were brought together to be with a stand-in mother and a very good meal. There were the anti-apartheid years, the free East Timor years, the Aboriginal causes, the euthanasia, the Greens, amnesty, living wills. If you open up Sheila's car boot at one stage, you had a choice of which causes placard would fly up at you. These were interesting times. Many battles, many causes, and many great friendships. But causes have results or resolutions, and the world changes continuously, and issues move on, and we all get a bit older, and wiser, and more mellow, and more tolerant. A few years ago, Sheila decided to move out of the catering for causes circuit, and move to the Morris effort for a more relaxed life, and this has been ask you to raise your glasses, and to Sheila Suttner, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sheila. Happy birthday to you. Hooray! 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 Would anybody else like to say anything?
I just upset.
Sheila.
Just for a second.
Hang on.
Nothing planned, but bearing in mind Daniel said something that something should be said by the other grandchildren. I just wanted to say that we don't know all of these people. It's been such a pleasure to meet our cousins for pretty much the first time, and we want to thank everybody for the generosity. But I wanted to just say, from a Suttner point of view, you can say a lot of the Suttners are not the easiest people, but and that might be an understatement. That might be an understatement. But what you can say is that Suttners will always stand up for what's right, and I think that starts with Gran, and I think that's the most important thing that we can say.
And Myrna.
And Myrna wants to say you wouldn't believe
Another Suttner.
Another Suttner. You wouldn't believe it from what you've heard because it's all come from males. This is a family of women. And the example is my mother-in-law, the best mother-in-law in the world, because she's in Perth and I'm in
How brilliant you are. How brilliant you are.
And the Suttners are very honest.
Well, what's this? That's it.
Hang on. No, we're not finished, Gary. Come up this way, Gary. People want to hear you.
Thank you.
For those of you that know me, I'm not a big speech maker or a talker, so I'll make an exception for you, Gran.
Good.
Firstly, I'd like to thank you. As a young child, I have many fond memories coming to your house and smelling the fantastic baking. I think I even had babuti, which is something I wouldn't even venture towards. You opened my mind and you taught me how to look at both sides of the stories rationally and fairly. You gave me that sense of judgment, and as everybody else has said, you also taught me right from wrong. And when you see something that is wrong, don't just stand by, otherwise you're also culpable. Those ethics that you've instilled in all of us are a very important tenet of life that a lot of people aren't growing up with today. I'd like to say that that Daniel and I and the other cousins have got that as a result of you. You've also welcomed everybody into your house, regardless of gender, colour, religion, and some of the gatherings we've had at your place have been absolutely phenomenal, and it's been almost like the United Nations over there. Not to mention our family is also like the United Nations. The other thing is, you've always had a very positive outlook on life. You've never let anything get you down, and that's a very rare quality. And I think you should be proud of you. You were Woman of the Year.
A long time ago. 1970.
Doesn't matter, it still goes down in history.
She's the Grand of the Year.
Yeah, and I think I once
For
Googled...
us, I think Daniel's correct that he's privileged, more privileged than the family who are in other parts of the world to be here with my mom. We haven't seen my mother as a hero. We don't.
Just a pain in the neck.
We don't detract from that. But we've seen her as a mother who's a magnet and has been a magnet over here. I endorse what everybody else has said. I think we've been able to pass on to our children what I think my siblings have passed on to theirs. And those are the values that we see in Sheila. There was never questions of dishonesty, of not facing up to adversity, of not being courageous in our family. And we were known. The South African word is hartigheid.
Yes.
It means stubborn. And yes, Alan was right, or whoever it was said it. We have friends who are good friends, and we have lots of people who are not prepared to put up with it. But we were brought up by both my mother and my father, but my mother is the one who fortunately is here today. And we were brought up with those values. We value those values. We attribute it to my mom, and we thank her very much for that. And I think those are the values which appear to me to have everybody here today. Just in conclusion, I spoke this morning to the lady whose unit we're occupying, and she gave me an undertaking that in 10 years' time, the rental will be exactly the same as it is now. So we will be back in 10 years' time.
Here we go.
I want to welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming to Mom's 90th birthday. I'm the lucky one. I've got my mother. My mother arrived in Perth a couple of months before Daniel was born. And I had the advice of my mother with the children.
You're the maid.
I had a babysitter and a dog sitter and everything else. So I was really, compared to everybody else, I've been very, very lucky. And we've got a fantastic bond, my mother and myself. We're wearing the same shirt in a different colour. The only thing we don't discuss is directions. That's the only thing that really brings out a very bad life. Because it depends.
For the record, Gran, your directions are correct.
You don't need GPS.
So I just want to say thank you again on behalf of all of us, and to wish my mother a wonderful birthday. As I said to you, Mommy, I'll let you know when it's enough. She keeps saying to me, I've had enough, I've had enough. I've said, I'll let you know when we've had enough. So far, you're going strong. Yes. You look fantastic.
Yes.
Even I go and visit my mother every morning at 5, and she is groomed. With everything is matching. Lipstick, earrings, the whole bit. And I think she just, everybody goes.
But having lived on different continents from Sheila for 40 years, it was an absolute pleasure. I now live 40 paces from her. And we go for walks at 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't tell me it's dark, I know that. But we laugh and joke all the way. And it's been an absolute wonderful thing to renew the sister love and the friendship. And thank you.
Keep the Suttner.
I hadn't intended speaking, and I don't think there's anything left to say. But everybody said to me, have you had a really relaxed time staying with your mom? Are you all rested? I said, no, I'm going home to rest. She has a life that, although she claims to be quietening down and getting older, she's busier than anybody I know. The phone doesn't stop, people don't stop popping in, and I need to go home to have this. Anyway, what is very nice is to have a mother who is a friend. That although you're different generations, you're on the same wavelength, and that this has always been very, very helpful. Obviously, the reason is that she taught us, she and my dad, who was also a very remarkable person with values, and that we all share the same things. My mum and I also share aesthetic interests and history interests and this, that, and politics. But we speak to each other minimum once a week. I'm from Johannesburg. At least once a week, and I'm not talking about 5 minutes, I'm talking about 20 minutes. And if anything's happening, like Anne getting sick, every day we speak, and we are, when I phoned up and I just said, hello, and she said hello, and I said, what's wrong? She said, has somebody told you? I said, no, what is wrong? She then told me about Anne, because before she'd been diagnosed, but she'd been admitted. I could pick up, just from the way she said hello, that there was something. And I suppose this is the value of real friendship and real caring, and it is always a pleasure to see her. And I just can't get over her energy and all of this. It's just an absolute pleasure. Okay.
Lovely to have you here. Righto, Sheila. Let him have it.
Well, as usual, unprepared. All I can say is this has been a great day. But it's the 90th anniversary of a great life. I've been so fortunate. I had wonderful parents who treated me as if I were a gifted child. I wasn't particularly athletic or aesthetic or anything like that, and by the time I was old enough to know they were talking rubbish, it didn't matter, because the significant people in my life really believed that I was special. And I had a wonderful husband, wonderful children, wonderful friends, wonderful siblings. It's just been a wonderful life, and wonderful good health. Even wonderful weather on my birthday. So thank you all for being here. You've all meant so much to me. You've all made life so wonderful that I can't say anything other than thank you, and hang around. You're important.
Daniel? Gary? I'm coming. Get your Gina. You want to come in the photo. Just swing around so you can only hold my gut in for half a minute.
Sorry. And his wife Diane for organising it. I believe you made this cake personally yourself. Wow. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Marianne for making these miniature cupcakes. Cupcakes. I also wanted to say something, Grant. You're a unique person, not just because of what you've been through and what you do, but you must be the only person in the world that when you go to bed, you count down from 100 in Morse code, German, Russian, English, Yiddish, and Afrikaans.
There's a lot, Jen, behind you.
Got a lot of candles out.
Jeff?
Right, blow the candles out, friend.
Oh, sorry. What did I say?
Make a wish.
90.
If I may say so, my husband, but you've still got the rest to blow.
Just let me know.
Wow, this is a real fruit cake.
Let me taste it.
That's magnificent. I've got quite a sharp knife. I think it's hang on, before you get cut.